What is going on, everybody? How you guys doing? It has been, I want to say about a year and a half, possibly almost 2 years since I've made a video on this channel. And this has been a video that's been long overdue. And I just want to say that I appreciate all of you who are still subscribed, who are still sticking around this channel. And let's just say there have been a lot of people that have requested that I start doing more videos again on this channel, along with more podcasts, a lot just outside of what I do day to day for my main channel, which has been just ever since I posted here last time, where I was then versus where I am now is just, it's crazy how much has happened over the past few years. And I wanted to take this video and I wanted to kind of just speak from the heart and just let you guys know what's been going on, and just have this as a video where people can come to, because I want you guys to let me know what you guys want to see with this channel. I have an idea with what I want to do for this channel. What I'm hoping to do in this video is I'm hoping to have you guys come to this channel. I'm going to be posting it. I'm going to be posting this on my Instagram. And the next video that I do, I'm going to answer a lot of your questions that are hopefully not going to be related to food challenges, but I am going to answer a lot of people's questions. And if you guys have a question, comment down below in this video and I can just make a whole Q&A video and we can move forward from there. But essentially what I want to do with this channel is show you guys more into my life, more into what I'm doing with my life, because like I said earlier, there have been a lot of changes and a lot of just cool things that I've done over the past few years, really. And right now, as it is, I'm in a very goal-oriented mindset, and I'm just really excited to share more of that with you all. So I'll just start really where, so actually, before I get into what's happened over the past few years, comment down below if you guys have a question or anything you guys want me to address moving forward with this video, moving forward with the next video. Like I said, it feels like ever since, I'm just gonna start where I left off. Let's just, for shits and giggles. Let's see when my last video was. Okay, so February 14th, 2019 was the last sit down video that I had on this channel. So February 14th was the last time that I actually made an actual structured video on this channel, which actually wasn't really all that structured. So February 14th, I was in still kind of a daze. I was still in a general, I still felt like I didn't really get a grip on my health, and I was still kind of teeter-tottering on a lot of uncertainties. My last video was called The Missing Link, and I was talking about sleep, I believe, and a lot of other things in that as well. And I feel like a completely different person after making that video. I feel so much better. I feel so much more clear. I feel so much more vibrant. I feel so much more energetic and motivated. And it may not seem like that because it's 8 o'clock in the morning, but guarantee you guys, that's the way I feel right now. But ever since making that video, 2019 was a great year, and I got to go to New York. I got to meet a ton of different people. I had the best electric tour that I've had ever. I raised, I think, almost $3,000 for St. Jude Research Hospital. That summer was such a great summer for me. Even before the summer, I filmed a lot of great videos that a lot of people really loved on my main channel. After the summer ended, I came back home and hit 1 million subscribers on my main channel, ErikTheElectric, which is a milestone that I had always, every YouTuber wants to hit 1 million subscribers. That's it's everybody's dream. It's everybody's big goal. And then once you get to 1 million, you're just like, I got a plaque. And it's a cool number, but it's really just another number, But it's still really awesome to celebrate milestones like that. It's really cool to celebrate victories. And so when I reach a victory or I reach a milestone, I don't I didn't really do a celebration. I didn't go out and, you know, I didn't go to, you know, party or get a, you know, drink 8,000 beers or eat 50 billion calories worth of food. I went back to editing, and I went back to creating content because that's what I love and it's what I enjoy. But I keep moving forward. I don't stop. When I reach a milestone or I reach a goal, I keep going and I set a new goal. And so that was great. And I think I reached that in September of 2019. And so after September happened and October, November rolled around, I was on a bike ride, and I remember I don't know what it was, but I was just really getting bored of the music I was listening to on my bike rides. And I know people are gonna be like, don't listen to music on bike rides. It's not safe. Theoretically, it is actually not. I don't think it's legal in California unless you have like one earphone in. But that's a separate issue. I won't talk about that in this video. Always be safe when you ride bikes. But I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast because I was getting bored of my music, and I had this podcast come on from a guy named David Goggins. It's David Goggins and Joe Rogan. And so I listened to this podcast, and essentially, if you guys don't know what the whole story is behind David Goggins, in a nutshell, it's so hard to just wrap it all up into one. But David Goggins is an ex-Navy SEAL. He was like 300 plus pounds at one point. He lost all that weight, became this probably one of the most motivating people in our generation. And he, of our generation. And I remember listening to this podcast and just listening to like this guy go from being this out of shape, you know, unmotivated person to losing 100 pounds, running 100 miles without training, and just doing all of these crazy things because he was able to master his mind. And I listened to that, I believe it was the mid part of October, and I just remember getting off the bike that day and telling myself, like, dude, I want to run a marathon. Like, I actually want to run a marathon, and I really want, like, I just want to do it. And I want that to be the first thing that I do, like, goal-wise in 2020. And so I got off the bike, and that week I ran my first run. I've never run a marathon before, obviously, but I ran in high school, and it was on a treadmill. I run like 14, 15, 16 miles at a time, but it was never structured. It was just do as much as possible. And I burned out super quick. I got shin splints, all this different stuff. And so, for me, I looked at this as it was a hard task for me. I knew I had the endurance. Actually, I didn't know I had the endurance to run a marathon. I knew I had the endurance to like go on runs, but not something like that. So I went on my first run, and I believe I did 8 miles, and I was toast. I was done. Like, oh man, it literally destroyed me. And I was like thinking to myself as I ran this 8 mile, I did this 8 mile run, and I was like, dude, I have zero idea how this person literally went from being that to running 100 miles without training and doing all this stuff. And then I did more research into Dave Goggins and the mindset and belief that he has, and it's really all just about mastering your mind. It's about adopting a mentality where you are the one that has control over you. You know, your mind wants to tell you that these things are causing you pain, they're causing you discomfort, they're telling you that you can't do it. All these things are going to normally dictate your actions, but you don't have to listen to those thoughts. You have control, and you don't have to give in to all of those thoughts that are telling you that you can't do something. And so I stayed persistent, and I did 8 miles that week. I did 10 and a half miles the next week, and then I did 11 and a half, and then I did 13, then I did 15, and then I just constantly did all of these things with running. I set a new goal every single week, and then I got to December-ish, In my marathon, I decided that I wanted to do a marathon in January, and I remember staying up one night, and I was just like, I'm just gonna sign up for it. I'm just gonna sign up for it. I don't care about when the date is, it's just gonna happen. And so the date was January 21st, I believe. And I signed up for it in mid-November. And so for me, that conflicted a little bit with my powerlifting, but I still rode my bike, I still lifted, I still did all of these things. And I ran consistently, and I actually did a marathon, did my first actual like unofficial marathon on the day, actually 3 days after Thanksgiving. So the marathon had already been done. I knew I could do it. I did it with like 2,000 feet of elevation, and the one I'd signed up for was like on the beach. It's a very famous marathon around here in San Diego. So I knew I could do it, and I went into the marathon feeling really confident, and sure enough, I did it. And I ran my marathon, I think my first marathon was in a 3 hour and 18-minute pace. And so I believe I had to have ran it in 8 minutes short of that to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And so I just remember feeling like I got across the finish line, and I felt really proud of myself, but I felt like I wanted to keep doing more. Like, not like more miles. I mean, I could have done more, but I wanted to keep setting new goals for myself. And so after I finished my marathon, I went back to my regular training schedule, and while I trained for this marathon, and I really, this is actually probably the biggest change just overall for me, my mentality shifted, it felt like, and I started to, instead of like I've definitely loathed exercise before, but I started feeling like exercise was like really benefiting me. And I really felt like the more that I kept setting goals and new challenges for myself with running, it started to shift over into cycling as well. It started shifting over into the gym and lifting. And so I really started adopting all of that in January. And I found that it just made me more motivated to do all the things exercise-wise that I've been used to doing. And so I finished this marathon, and I started riding my bike more, and I just felt like this, as it is right now, like this year with how much I've ridden, how much I ran, I've never been this, I hate saying this because people will be like, oh, wow, you're full of yourself, man. But for me personally, I've never been this in shape. I've never been this, I've definitely been way leaner, but I've never been this strong, this motivated, this powerful. Being in shape, I guess, is the wrong term to use. I've never been this, I hate saying fit too. I've never been this good right now with everything that I'm doing. And so as I continued to ride more, and I kind of tailored back on the running, just because running for me it's very hard on my body. A lot of people can run just fine. I'm a very dense guy. My bone structure, the way that I'm built, running really takes a lot out of me, so I can't really do it as much once or twice a week. But my cycling really improved, my running really improved. And then I decided that I wanted to sign up for a powerlifting meet. And so that was once again something I just was like, you know what, we're gonna set a date for this, we're just gonna do it. And I set my powerlifting meet in March, I believe, which is right when all of the really big, actually it was in February, which is right around the time that everything started happening, things started shutting down. And so I set my goal for that, and it was supposed to happen when I set the goal for the powerlifting meet. It was supposed to be on, I believe it was April 25th. And so, no, it was May 25th. So I had a few months to train for it. Everything happened. I had been weighing myself. I hadn't been weighing myself at all, really, but I dropped I stepped on the scale after like a week or two after the marathon, and I had went from 192 pounds back in 2019 after the tour ended to about 173 pounds, 173, 172. And so for me, that made perfect sense. There was just no way I was going to be able to run a marathon being 192 pounds. And so a lot of people will look at, especially me with my past, and they'll say that, wow, you lost all that weight, but that's not good, for a person that has dealt with eating issues in the past to lose weight. And there's a lot of overgeneralizations and a lot of black and white thinking still that goes hand in hand with eating disorders. And so, honestly, for me, that could be what this channel is all about, but I'm not going to make that what this channel is all about anymore. If people watch me that have eating disorders and they like to jump to conclusions like that, there's really nothing I can do about that. But my mindset is great, and my mindset is the way that it should be, and it's the way that that's the mindset I like to have. And so at the end of the day, I've always said that when you live with an eating disorder and you live with destructive thoughts and a destructive mindset, you're not a happy person. And so for me, I can genuinely say that I'm a happy person, and I enjoy the mindset that I have right now. And so that's really all I feel like I need to say about that. And every time I talk about weight loss, there's always this big spiel that there's always this, I don't really know what to call it, this ordeal that seems to occur within people's minds, but that's just the way it is. But long story short, I lost that weight. And so it was actually good because it helped my running. And I stayed at that weight for a few months really. And that was good for me. And then I realized that, okay, it was a few weeks away from the powerlifting meet, and I needed to get down to the 165 pound weight class. And so for me, I hadn't really fully grasped yet how powerlifters actually get into those weight classes and perform at their best. And so I did some research on weight cutting, water cutting before meets, and so realized that I didn't actually have to lose more weight to get into the 165 pound class, being 7 pounds heavier, which is good. But as everything happened within the country, stuff got shut down. I couldn't go to the gym anymore. And so started riding my bike a lot more. And then just naturally, with that much activity, my weight dropped down about 3 or 4 more pounds. And so for me, when I start getting into that, and I probably should say a disclaimer, I'm going to talk about weight more. If you guys don't want to hear about that, you probably should skip over this part. And I know a lot of people can relate to this too. When you start to get into those areas of weight, specifically like numbers that you've been at before, you can already, I already knew intuitively, I hadn't weighed myself. I would go probably two weeks at a time weighing myself. And basically in those intervals. And so just out of I don't really, I don't have a problem with my weight. I just wasn't consistent with weighing myself. Naturally, my activity level increased. And so therefore I dropped into the 160s. And so that was a number that I hadn't seen in a long time. I wasn't really used to seeing my weight that low. And just for me, I could see just from not being in the gym, not lifting weights, not doing my compound movements, not deadlifting, not squatting, not benching, I did lose a fair amount of muscle mass. And I know a lot of people lost muscle mass too. In fact, pretty much everybody that I know lost muscle mass. And so I just didn't like the way that I looked at that weight. And so for me, it was about time to tone down, the cycling and just eat more food. And that's something that I, as a person that dealt with that roadblock for such a long time in my mind, that was something that I tried and tried and tried and tried for years of my life, ever since I was diagnosed with an eating disorder at 16. That was trying to do that with somebody that has an eating disorder that's the biggest, at least for me, and I'm not going to overgeneralize everybody here, but that's one of the biggest hurdles and the biggest roadblocks that people seem to run into when it comes to dealing with undereating, is that they're so afraid that once they start undereating again, that they're going to go from that state to another state of uncertainty, into a lot of that's an unknown territory. And when you're dealing with an eating disorder, you deal with a lot of that. The fear of the unknown keeps a lot of people away from wanting to do that, or from doing that. And so for me, it was, I mean, I've done a lot of work within myself, and so it really isn't that big of an issue with me anymore. And so I did what I needed to do. I got back into the 170s, and so it didn't take too long. It was probably about a week or two, probably about 3 weeks. My powerlifting meet got canceled once again. And this was really discouraging for me, because I'd been trying so hard to accomplish something that I've actually really always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do a powerlifting meet. And so that was actually fairly recently. That was a few days ago. But before that, I had played around with the idea of possibly doing an Ironman, because I was like thinking to myself, man, it would be so cool to say that, okay, I ran my first marathon in 2020. And then I said to myself, you know what, it would be cool if I did my own duathlon, if that's what you want to call it, where you ride your bike and you do a run. And so I actually tried it. My first one I ever did was, I think, 3 weeks ago. And I actually went out on my bike and I did 53 miles, and then I did a 13.5 mile loop for the run afterwards. And so after I completed that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to do my first Ironman. And I'm not sure right now, as it is, if it's gonna be a full Ironman or if it's gonna be a half Ironman. As it is right now, I still haven't even gotten into the pool. I haven't been in the pool since I was probably 12. And so I can swim, but I can't swim very well. So that's gonna be a very big challenge for me. But as I've told you guys in this video, challenging yourself is so crucial. It's so necessary to do in life. And I realize that I'm not gonna be the best swimmer. I'm not going to jump in the pool and swim, you know, like a triathlete, and that's fine. But I'm gonna do everything that I possibly can to get better and try to do this, because this would be something that I've really wanted to do. And I've realized, in a nutshell, like, the powerlifting meet's now pushed back to December 12th, and as it is for me, I've realized that I'm never going to be that super jacked powerlifter that, you know, has a ton of muscle mass, and, you know, when he walks around, people just go, wow, that guy's super jacked. It's just, it's not like ever going to happen. My goals were never really ever aligned with that, just because the way that I am, the way that my body is genetically, it just, my biomechanics, the way my limbs are, it's just, the way that I put on muscle, the way that I put on fat, it's just, you know, I lift weights not for the aesthetics or for the, you know, the looks. I lift weights because of the other benefits that it brings me, the psychological benefits. It makes me happier. I like to get stronger. Those are the things that appeal to me when it comes to weightlifting. So I'm always going to do that. And if I do the powerlifting meet this year, that's great. But I really want to do an Ironman. And my whole point with all that is that my personal strengths, I feel like, really apply to, or really go hand in hand with being able to endure being uncomfortable. You know, when I was cycling a lot this year, I set new goals for myself. Every single Sunday, I was gonna go out and ride as much as I could. and then my first one was 100 miles, and then the next week after that I did 115. The next week after that I did 125. Then the next week after that I did 133. Then the next week after that I did 150. And so my personal strengths, I feel like, at least right now, apply to being able to endure. And so endure, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of, in a nutshell, I don't want to go on too much longer with this, but a lot of personal physical achievements for me this year, and I couldn't be more happy and more proud of myself, but I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. I want to keep pushing my limits, and I want to keep challenging myself. But the goals for this channel, though, shifting gears a little bit, is I want to make this channel a spot where I can go back to vlogging and documenting and showing you guys my training and what I do to be able to do what I do. And a lot of people like to see that. I'm not going to make this a food focused channel because people seem to be very still wrapped up, and I completely understand that. When you see me, you see ErikTheElectric, you think, oh my gosh, the dude that eats a ton of food, but there is much more that goes on besides all of that. And so that's what my whole goal is behind this channel. I'd like to make this channel not centered around my fitness, and not completely centered around fitness in my activities that I do and all of that. While I will document, my Ironman training and everything, I want to also make this a spot where I can talk about things that I feel like I can share an opinion on that will help people. And also make people laugh and make people think about what goes on in society. There's a lot of commentary channels. My friend John, Obese to Beast, has a great channel where he talks about a lot of issues, especially in the weight loss realm, and a lot of, body image issues as well. And I feel like, I have a microphone, I can really share a lot of, commentary and a lot of that. So that's another side of this channel that I really want to bring out to you guys. And so other than that, if you guys have any thoughts or ideas, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. I'm not going to babble on anymore. This video has already been long enough. So I wanted to make this video and just update you guys with everything that's been going on. If you guys have gotten up to this point, I appreciate you all, and I'm excited to make more content for you guys. Anyways, that's it for this video. Like I said, leave comments down below, leave questions if you guys have any questions you guys want me to answer in the next video, and I will answer them. Thanks for watching another video, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.